The villagers whispered about him. A boy, barely 16, living alone high in the frozen mountains. No family, no roads, no friends. Just him and the endless snow. They laughed at him, called him reckless, said he was wasting his life building a cabin no one would ever use. But the boy didn't care. He worked in silence, hammering, sawing, shaping wood in ways that made no sense at first. Extra roofs, hidden walls, odd angles. Everything looked strange. The villagers couldn't understand it. They only saw what they wanted. A foolish boy lost in snow and dreams. The boy knew the mountains in a way they never could. He felt the wind coming hours before it arrived, knew which snow drifts could collapse, which rocks could fall. Every plank he nailed, every strange corner he carved, had a purpose. He was building more than a cabin, he was building survival. One evening, as the sun dipped behind jagged peaks, a cry cut through the wind. A little girl, lost and shivering, had stumbled across the mountain pass. Most people would have turned back, afraid of the storm, afraid of the cold. Not him. He wrapped her in furs, guided her to the cabin, and whispered, "You're safe now." Her tiny hands clutched his coat as he led her past walls that hid secret spaces, past floors that had trapdoors cleverly disguised, past windows that overlooked hidden paths. Inside, the cabin smelled of pine and smoke. The fire crackled, and the boy moved with calm precision, checking every corner, making sure she would be warm and protected. Outside, the wind grew louder, snow piling high against the walls. The villagers below the mountains had no idea what was happening. They only knew a boy had disappeared into the cold, and they laughed at what they thought was foolishness. The boy paused by a stack of firewood. Behind it, a hidden tunnel lay concealed, carved into the mountain itself. He had discovered it months ago, a network of narrow passages that no one would suspect. Rumors spoke of treasure buried in the mountains, lost in time, nearly impossible to find. Some said it was $290 million, forgotten by men who had vanished long ago. The boy didn't know for certain, but he had prepared for every possibility. Every wall, every hidden space, every extra roof might be needed if the legends were true. The little girl watched him, curiosity and fear in her wide eyes. He smiled, but his mind was already racing ahead. The storm was growing, and the mountains were unforgiving. He had saved her, but survival was never simple. Something was coming, he could feel it. The wind screamed like a predator. Snow whipped against the cabin, and the hidden tunnel waited silently below, ready to hide secrets that could change everything. The villagers would never understand why he built like this. They only saw chaos. But the boy knew one day everything he built would make sense. And for now, it was enough to keep a little girl safe and survive the winter that no one else could endure. The storm raged all night, white-out snow and wind that howled like wild beasts. The little girl shivered under heavy furs, but the mountain boy moved with quiet purpose. He fed the fire, checked the cabin's hidden corners, and made sure the extra roofs and thick walls held strong. Every odd angle, every hidden room suddenly made sense. They weren't just strange. They were life-saving. The boy had thought of everything. Snow piling against walls, ice cracking from weight, even the wind trying to push through the tiniest cracks. By morning, the storm had not fully ended. The mountains were a frozen maze, but the boy and the girl were safe, hidden behind clever construction no one could guess. Outside, the snow drifts changed shape as if alive, hiding paths and confusing anyone who dared climb up. The boy knew the villagers would never reach him here. They laughed at him once, but now, even they would see that surviving these mountains required more than courage. It required planning, patience, and sharp eyes. Then, as the wind calmed briefly, the boy led the girl to the cabin floor, to the hidden hatch he had prepared weeks ago. Beneath it was a tunnel narrow and dark, carved deep into the mountain's heart. He whispered instructions. "Stay quiet. Don't move." The girl's eyes grew wide, but she trusted him. The tunnel smelled of earth and stone, cold but safe. The walls had strange markings, old and precise, almost like a map left by someone long gone. The boy moved deeper into the tunnel, torch in hand. Every step echoed. And then he saw it. Metal glinting faintly in the light, boxes stacked carefully, symbols carved into the sides. He could hardly believe his eyes. The stories were true. Treasure hidden in the mountains, nearly impossible to find. $290 million, maybe more, waiting quietly in the darkness. But he didn't feel greed. What mattered was protection. The cabin, the hidden tunnel, all of it was built to keep this safe and to keep the little girl alive. As he examined the tunnel, he realized he had anticipated everything. The construction above ground, the extra rooms, the false walls, the fireproof insulation, all of it would keep anyone from noticing. Anyone trying to follow him would be misled, trapped by paths that led nowhere. He smiled faintly. The villagers thought he was foolish. They never guessed that his strange building was actually a fortress, a test of his mind as much as of his courage. Above, the storm returned with sudden fury. Snow slammed against the cabin walls, rattling the roof. The little girl crouched near the hidden hatch, listening. She didn't understand yet, but she felt safe. Something powerful lay beneath them, hidden in the mountain's heart. And someone or something was approaching. The mountain boy's mind raced. He had planned for storms, snow, and cold. But would his traps and clever design be enough to hold against whoever or whatever was coming next? The wind screamed louder, ice cracked in the distance, and shadows seemed to shift in the snow outside. The boy paused in the tunnel, torchlight flickering. The treasure was real, the cabin secure, the girl safe. But the mountains were not done yet. Danger was near, and the next move could change everything. Morning broke pale and cold over the mountains. The storm had slowed, but snow still blanketed every path, hiding trails and confusing anyone who dared come near. The mountain boy moved quickly, checking the cabin and the hidden tunnel. Every wall, every roof, every strange corner had a purpose. He reinforced entrances, shifted snowdrifts to disguise tracks, and prepared clever traps, not to hurt anyone, but to mislead and protect. The little girl followed cautiously, eyes wide, realizing for the first time that the cabin wasn't strange. It was brilliant. Footsteps approached through the snow.
Humans, careful, persistent.
They were searching for something hidden in the mountains. The boy smiled faintly. They thought they could take what was buried, what legends claimed was $290 million. They didn't know the mountains had chosen him, had trained him, had shown him secrets no one else could see. He guided the girl to the hidden tunnel again, lighting the path with a small torch. The air smelled of cold stone and earth. They moved past the secret supplies, the carefully hidden nooks, and the walls with false spaces that could confuse anyone in pursuit. The tunnel was more than a hiding place. It was a maze, a puzzle designed to protect, confuse, and mislead. Outside, the intruders made mistakes. They followed tracks that led to dead ends, slipped on frozen surfaces, and struggled against snow that seemed to move like waves. The boys' designs worked perfectly. Every diversion, every hidden barrier, every clever construction tricked them. They searched for treasure, but all they found were empty spaces and false walls. The boy had been one step ahead the entire time. Hours passed. Exhausted and frustrated, the intruders left, unable to locate the cabin or the tunnel. The mountain boy emerged carefully, snow crunching under his boots. He looked at the girl, smiling. She understood now. Everything he had done, the strange cabin, the hidden spaces, the tunnel, the careful preparation, was for her safety, and for the mountain's secret. He led her inside again, showing her the treasures hidden deep in the tunnel. Boxes of glinting metal carefully stacked, safe from anyone who might come looking. She gasped, but the boy shook his head. "It's not for us to take," he said. "It's here to stay, protected, and to remind us what careful planning can do." She nodded, understanding the lesson without words. The villagers would never comprehend the wisdom behind his strange construction. They had laughed at him, doubted him, thought he was wasting his life. But now, the truth was clear. The boy had survived storms, protected a child, and safeguarded a fortune no one else could touch. Every extra roof, every hidden nook, every clever design had saved lives and outwitted danger. As the sun rose, casting golden light over snow-covered peaks, the mountain boy and the little girl looked out across the mountains. The wind whispered secrets only they would ever know. The mountain had tested them, threatened them, but they had endured. And in that endurance, they found something more valuable than money. Safety, trust, and the knowledge that intelligence and preparation could conquer even the wildest storms. The mountain was vast, wild, and dangerous, but together they were unstoppable. The hidden tunnel, the strange cabin, the treasure, they were symbols of foresight and courage. The mountain boy had proven that the impossible could be mastered with patience, skill, and heart. The little girl smiled, and for the first time, she understood. The boy wasn't just surviving, he was winning.